He is young, he is dynamic, and he is a tremendously successful digital entrepreneur. Meet Mr. Alok Kejriwal, the CEO and co-founder of Games2win, a leading online gaming company of the world. His previous successful ventures include Contest2win.com, Media2win.com, and Mobile2win.com, a company that was acquired by Walt Disney in China and was also written up as a case study at the Stanford Business School. Mr. Alok Kejriwal's biggest strength lies in creating companies with minimal investment that go on to capture tremendous value in the world markets, be it India, China, or the US. Besides his dedication to his work, he's a devout art of living practitioner, a passionate blogger, and also operates a social network called troddenhoods.com. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for this digital genius hailing straight from Youngistan, Mr. Alok Kejriwal.
He is known as Robin Hood also. Mr. Robin Hood.
So, first disclosure, I am a Mumbai guy, and when I came into Indore last night and I opened my bag, I figured that I'd forgotten my belt. So I was intending to wear this shirt with my jeans and a belt, and I didn't have a belt. And then immediately there were two options, right? Go and look for a belt, ask, borrow, beg, steal, or I'd written a blog about a week back called "Stay Uncomfortable." To me, that's the new mantra of, just being uncomfortable, celebrating uncomfortableness, and being uncomfortable all the time. I actually wrote to someone saying, fly uncomfortable class. First class and economy class is passing. And I said, if you write something, you got to use it yourself. So I came like this, and to someone outside I pretended. I said, actually, I'm trying to dress like the Apple guys, shirt out, jeans in. But to be honest, I forgot my belt, and I think just want to make that sure. So probably I'm the worst dressed guy in the session, but I guess you'll tolerate that for me. So thank you. So I'm gonna walk up. I passed. I thought these guys were gonna throw me out. So anyway, I think the subject given to me is very very broad and very general. I'm gonna focus into what I know and what I do best. And I think I'm going to try and walk you guys through a case study. Nothing speaks better than a case and something that's actually happened. And I hope you learn something from it. And if there are Q&As, then we can walk through it later on. So first, a little bit description. I was sitting on the sofa and the guy said, so which IIT batch are you from? And I said, I've barely been at the IIT gates. I get lucky once in a while to go to the auditorium, but I haven't ever been in a classroom. But I am one thing. I'm a blessed entrepreneur. And it's a very strange thing, when Rajiv Memani, who's actually my contact at IMA, told me that, Alok, we'd like you to talk a little bit about spirituality. It is the first time that I've been invited ever, and I speak a lot, to any management association, IIT, IIM, blah, 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 to speak about spirituality, to at least mention it. I slip it in, come what may. I don't care whether you throw me out or not. But to be asked was interesting. And this morning, I was looking at the management booklet, I think the IMA November, December publication. And I was very interested. There was something on the cover, but there was a more interesting article inside, which traces the evolution of management and the styles used. And there's a chart by a lady which says 2000 onwards, spirituality. It's very interesting. And I think no one better in the world knows about how spirituality and Zen and the art of, just intuition has come alive than Steve Jobs and what he's done so beautifully with Apple. But I think, I'm blessed too. So this is another interesting thing, and I think you talked about the past and the present. I think the present and the future, and I guess I want to show this in terms of what I did before IT. So I'm 44, I was a really good Marwadi boy before IT corrupted me. And this is what I did for 9 years of my life. So I made socks, moza, and I made socks for my father for 8 years. And I worked in a factory in Indore, and I did manufacturing. So these hands know manufacturing. I know pneumatics, I know screwdrivers, I've had grease in my thumbnails for a long, long time. But this is also a very funny thing. When I was in this is actually in Florence, and I'm training under this guy. This is it's a pneumatic socks knitting machine. And I remember on this day, well, not maybe this day, but this trip, there was a sunlight moving in from the skyline. And I woke up one day and I said, am I going to make socks for the rest of my life? I mean, come on, man, I can't make socks for the rest of my life. And that's when the IT bug bit me. So that's how I transitioned. But the message is, you don't have to be born IT to do IT. You can be a moza wala and you can still do IT. So I think a lot of people talk about, entrepreneurship. What is it that it takes to succeed? How do you become a digital guy? What do you think of? And I think the point is, it's too over-explained. You can't explain someone how to start a business. It's obvious. And if it's not obvious, then you're trying to create a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. So I begin by trying to observe things and observing problems. If you ask any entrepreneur in the room, and there are lots of them around, we love problems because problems means business. So I observe problems in the most beautiful city I live in, and this is what I saw. I see traffic jams every day of my life. I see no parking. I can't park my car. I want to buy 2 more cars in this very place for half a car. And this is something that, this is a case study in terms of how we looked at a particular situation. And we said, if this is an idea that is seemingly bothering people, what can we do? So, there are 2 ways of getting a problem, right? 2 ways a problem can affect you. Either it irritates you and makes you feel really bad, or you put on your entrepreneurial cap and you say, if I have a problem, maybe a million other people have the same problem, what can we do? What can we do to make this interesting? Because I'm a gaming guy and I do digital, I come from the entertainment space, this is what we did. We converted that idea into a parking game, and we called it Bombay Taxi. Now the funny thing is, the game is all about parking a Bombay taxi. And for all of you who've been to Mumbai, parking your car is impossible. The taxi drivers have a really tough time. Guess, lo and behold, the game has funny levels, and it's a fun game. It did well. And it started getting a lot of responses, and it started making some kind of intuitive sense that maybe people who hate parking cars in real life don't mind parking them virtually. There's some connection coming on, the online and the real world. And that's the kind of magic that we began to see. Having said that, my team and I, we got a shock of our lives about 3 weeks after the game launched. And maybe you guys can't read the text, but let me explain to you what the red arrows mean. When we looked up parking frenzy on Google about 3 years back, at that time, 3,000 websites had stolen our game. This was theft, because the technology was a SWF, which is a flash file. They picked it up and they put it on their site. This is a good game and they liked it and they stole it. That's the way the web is. You can't stop it. You don't have a guard in the warehouse that stops things from going out. This is the World Wide Web. Welcome. That was like, oh my God, shock lag gaya. Ki kya ho gaya hai? Hamara sabse precious game chori ho gaya. And the one side of the company, the guys in the suits, pardon me, said, we got to sue these guys, we're going to bring notices up, we're going to do X, Y, Z. The techno guys became really worked up. They said, let's build DRM. For all those who don't understand it, it's digital rights management software. So you lock the game in a particular software, so that if it's not supposed to be played on your website, it destroys it. Now, that's all fine, but that's negative, right? You're stopping someone, you're suing someone, you're hurting someone. The point was to be open-minded. We said, let's look at what this phenomena is. What is going on? And I asked 3 people in my office. I said, do you steal rubbish from the road and take it home? Do you steal stuff that's lying around? Why do you steal something? That was let me say, the Zen question we asked ourselves. And the obvious answer was, you steal something when it's precious. So what we realized was that there is a very precious asset idea called parking fence, called parking cars that we have created. And this was inspiration. So, in our company today, the more your game gets stolen, the bigger we celebrate your success. Because it means that you've created something very precious. And this is one big idea changer. We said, someone is telling us that you're creating value. So what if it's pirates? Let's park it there. And then, we looked at something very interesting. We looked at the charts of who was playing Bombay Taxi. And the really interesting data that came up was that India was just one of the 320 countries that was playing this game. So we said, something really precious has been created, something really global has been created, there's a lot of engagement, there's lots and lots of plays, we've got something going for us. So the message we learned was to listen to the hidden message. Between lines of success and failure, there are lots and lots of underlying currents. And there are lots and lots of things that you may not see because you're so obsessed by what you have been ingrained to thinking. But if you look below the surface, there is a calm. And in the calm, there is some light. And that's what we try to do. Go down deep and see what's going on. And then we innovated. And we made a global game called Parking Frenzy. And this is on the mobile platform that you can't steal. And it's a parking game, and it's a global game. It doesn't have movie in it, it's just the way it is. This is the way the game is. So it's a car game, you've got to park your car in different places, and we give you different levels of challenges. Now, I'm coming back to the topic that's close to my heart. We have a saying, at least I tell everybody that I meet, if you're in the internet and mobile business, and if you spend, it definitely helps to be a Marwadi saying this, but let me say that nevertheless. If you spend even a rupee in marketing your product on the internet and on mobile, you're a fool. You do not know what that medium is all about. The internet and mobile is all about marketing, things happening, your consumers marketing products for you. No one marketed Facebook, nobody marketed Yahoo, nobody marketed eBay, nobody marketed Naukri. It was all done on its own. So what we do is we convert our consumers into our salespeople. And we listen to chatter. So we're looking at Twitter chatter, and we start looking at what people are saying. What is it that's making them interesting? We start following them, we start complimenting them. When a person, it's like an ad, I've had this running challenge with, I'm in the digital space for 14 years. And I've had this challenge that has still not been won by anybody for 14 years. The question is, what is the first ad, which is the Solus, the Times of India has a Solus ad. What is the ad in the Times of India today? If you can recall that at even 10:30 in the morning, I'll do something for you for free. And nobody can. Because advertising is dead. And advertising is completely in the ground. But when a friend or a cousin or a schoolmate says, you got to play this, you got to do this, I believe him. Because that is real, that is referent, that is authentic. So we began to look at consumers, and we started saying consumers are going to be our marketeers. We need to keep feeding our consumer stuff that they can help us market. And I think this is the most important thing, right? I was telling someone in the morning also that you have to be everything. You have to be reactive, proactive. I don't know what these management terms are. I call it all active. You just got to go all out. So what I do, and a lot of my team members do, is we don different avatars. If you see me here, I'm wearing this pirate cap. I don't think you can see me. If you look at the top of the Twitter thing, I have this pirate patch, and that's like a gaming CEO guy. And I write to every consumer that tweets about a game. And I find out what's going on. Why do you like it? People complain. People say, what's going on? I can't play this game anymore. I'm stuck at level 22. So it's a very deep involvement of content, idea, technology, and at least in the IT space, let's go back to the subject again. IT enables you to eavesdrop, IT enables you to sniff, IT enables you to respond, IT enables you to inspire, and IT enables you to completely keep control of what's going on. There's no industry in the world that I know. I used to make socks, and as I said before, that I could make out every hour what is the position of my content, how is it moving. It's like a global dashboard in front of you. And that is the beauty of IT and technology. So we are selling something here, and if you're not reactive, forget being, reactive is meant for the dinosaurs. If you're not proactive, then you're a fool. So I think that the concept is in your mind. You've got to be able to take things around and really be able to respond to them rather than an old classical thing that we'll send it to this guy who will tell us what to do. There is no this guy. That guy is you. And you've got to take control right on the spot. So there's a lot of nimbleness if you're going to be an IT guy, because the IT stroke technology space just completely, it travels at 580, 600 miles an hour, and you can't be, thinking of which turn to take. You've got to take it before it kills you. So, long story, we hit #1 in the world, and Barking Frenzy was the #1 game, and Barking Frenzy was the #1 app, and this was June 2012. So the first company ever to do that, we had about, at least in India, statistically speaking, as I speak today, we've had 1.5 crore people who've downloaded Barking Frenzy. In terms of economic value, that's about $10 million worth of asset. But I want you to look at one thing that probably has still not been spotted here. It's in this PPT. The way I define the world is I define it as USA. And this is a really important point I want to make. Everybody who I meet says, I'm going to do this in India, I'm going to do this in Mumbai, and I say you're dead. You're going to be like smashed. You've got to work against the US if you're looking at IT. If you're competing for an iStore app or an Android app, you have to say I'm the #1 in the largest market in the world. And India may not even matter there. So you can live in India, but you cannot think in India. You have to think in the market that resembles the greatest arena in the world. And for people like us, it's the US or nothing. So on all our dashboards, we have USA and UK, and a lot of people come up and say, did you see your rank in India? And we say, don't waste my time, because it doesn't matter. So I think a lot of us cannot gloat about the fact that we have some market share or leadership in India, because especially in ideas of technology and product, where everything flows across borders, this is it. So again, if you look at this, right, this looks like an ordinary screen of a game. What you don't see is what lies below. So if you take this screen and you peel it, what you see are tons and tons and tons of data. So you come to our office, probably at any given time of the day, you think you've come to a analytics, heavy data mining company. You barely see graphics. You see only data. So you have to be swimming and riding and surfing and completely comfortable in data analytics, and to be able to understand numbers and to think that we measure everything that moves. So has anybody played Farmville here? Some people must have played Farmville, at least in the student crowd. Angry Birds, how many people have played Angry Birds? Lots of people have played Angry Birds. What you might think is a stupid game about birds flying here and there is actually a nuclear submarine. The kind of instrumentation of analytics they have inside, they measure 200 things at any given time when you're touching the game with your finger. And that's the kind of detail that goes into making anything IT, because it allows you to measure. So if you look at how far does his thumb move, which part of the car, it's almost like making a car. It took us 7 months to get the steering right. And when we got the steering right, it was like as if we invented a car. So the funny thing is, technology is very punishing. Technology takes you to the end because it demands perfection. And if you can't deliver it, your customer just ditches you. And that's the trouble with technology businesses. You can't get away. There is no easy way out. And the other problem is you can't rest on your laurels. So what we did yesterday in OI doesn't matter anymore. And this is the kind of stuff that we're doing in the game right now. So now we're completely pumping in new cars, new stuff, paid, unpaid, and so on and so forth. But the message is you have to keep innovating to get something done right. The other interesting, kind of segue that I want to bring in was this whole question of humility. This saying I don't know. So I meet a lot of people, CEOs, chairmen, students, young management, mid-core management, And I wait for that golden line to come across which says, I don't know. And I very rarely heard it. It's very unfortunate because if you don't know, you won't ask. Or if you're so proud to ask, to say you don't know, you don't ask. And if you don't know, you don't ask, you never know. So I think if you're going to be getting ready for the new generational business, you have to start by accepting that you don't know. And when you say you don't know, you will ask. I want to give an example here. On the 31st of December, when the world was almost shutting down, at 1 p.m., I posted something on Facebook which says, does someone know anybody high level at the Amazon Kindle store? We have an app that's stuck and we need help. If you see the black lines, within about 6 to 7 minutes, I begin to get high level contacts within the Amazon Kindle store. And this is happening on Facebook. And this is the reality of what happens in social media if you have the humility to ask and you have enough of a network to ask. But if you say, pata lagata hu yaar, let me find out from some sources. The sources don't exist in my world at least. The source is your public domain. And you have to stand up there and say, I don't know, can you please help me? So I think this is a very big realization that I think Indian corporates especially lack. They feel so ashamed to say we don't know. Whereas according to me, it's the greatest sentence ever occurred. Because that's where everything begins. And coming back, I feel we're now living in a world where science has done a lot and it will continue to do a lot. But there's an intuitivity. There is that feel. There is that gut. There is that inspiration. There is, what do I do? Why does Steve Jobs have the guts to say the consumer does not know what he wants? I will tell the consumer what he wants. I've never heard anybody say that. If Steve Jobs went to Harvard, Stanford and Kellogg's and said that, they would have thrown him out. We've always been preached the consumer is always right. Here comes a man who says the consumer is always wrong. Because I will tell you what you want. That cannot come on its own. That comes with a very deep insight, with a very deep blessing, with grace. And therefore I feel that as young people, and I'm very proud to say, you must meditate. You must, seek spirituality out, because that is the only way you will actually develop that edge, that fine line between knowing and being told what you don't know but you're hoping to find out and use it wherever you want to. You have to drive yourself into a realm of, the other side, which you can't do if you don't kind of dive into the spiritual side. So, quick mantras, real problems are what becomes great businesses. You gotta get inspired by them, not get bogged down. Be very open-minded, let things happen. If things happen, they happen for a reason. And those reasons are pointers to what's going on. You gotta listen to what's going on inside that message. Of course, it's like saying breathe. Innovation is as simple as breathing today. And keep telling your customers to sell for you. You do not need to sell yourself. If your customer is not selling for you, you've got a bad product. Completely be all the time, 24/7, 365. Enjoy. I think, we call ourselves, if you're in the happiness business, which is what we sell, we want our people to be happy. It's an important point. For example, we don't have check-in times in the office and some come at 9 and go at 5. And that's all bunk. I mean, why do you need to measure people like they were prisoners? Why you have prisoner quality law books? Agar nahi aane ka to mat aao yaar. Don't come, If you don't come to my company, don't come. Don't work, sit at home. We beg people to stay at home and work. And they still land up in office because Bombay is very treacherous to travel. So 2 people then told me, they said, sir, my mother tells me that you sabzi lekar aao. So that's why I come to the office. And then my father bolta hai ki yaar ye to koi kaam hai, office jana chahiye. So now you can't beat that. I can't go to the parents and tell them. But the point is, you got to foster that happiness. And if you don't have happiness in a happiness business, you're not going to succeed. So depending on what you do, inculcate that sense of being in your organization. Everything has to be measured. The number of times I said game needs to be measured. So everything is about deep measurement and constant improvement. And finally, if you guys don't have a Twitter, Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn account, you are dinosaurs. You are living in a cave and no one will ever discover you. One day the cave's mouth is going to close and people are going to forget you. So please crawl out of your caves and get e-enabled today. And yeah, we're very blessed to be in India because this is the land of where it began. So use it. Thank you very much.